works is that we have like a two.
Oh, we're live?
We're live.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Woohoo.
Camera's over there. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the .NET MAUI Community Standup.
Woo! Yes, this works better with an audience.
It does work better with an audience. We are live from Prague, Microsoft office in Prague, Czechia, right? Czech Republic, Czechia.
Something like that.
The things.
The things.
Did I say who I am? I'm David Ortinau, product manager at Microsoft, and with me, my co-host,
Gerald Versluis, or Versluis, as Dutch people say.
Versluis?
No, it's you don't.
You've
like
never said it like that.
I don't know. I'm trying out new things. We're in an audience. It's a whole new world. I'm an engineer on the .NET MAUI SDK.
Yes.
Here today.
And we have many special guests with us today. We have many of the engineers from .NET Runtime and the .NET MAUI engineering team. Welcome, everybody. Yeah. So today, what we're going to do, kind of the way that we go about things, is we have some, what do we call these things? Links to community things. And I'm going to minimize that browser because that's distracting. And we're going to, just chat about what the news is lately, what's happening, what we think would be most interesting to you. The things that we definitely want to make sure that you're aware of, like, hey, the support policy that .NET just changed to every 24 months has no impact on .NET MAUI. I'm really sorry. Yeah, .NET MAUI is every 18 months, always, and it has to do with Google and Android dependencies. And so you can use the .NET things at the 24-month or the LTS, which is 3 years. But anything that is in your .NET MAUI head projects, that applies to the 18 months. Everybody knew that, right? Raise your hand if you knew that. All right.
Oh, the rest needs to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This was a video. You just called yourself out. That's
Anytime fine. I wonder if people know things, I'm like, does Gerald have a YouTube video?
Yeah.
And that's what it does. So we will cover some just general community news. That might be about half of the time that we're together. And then we have, some demo-ish type things. We'll give you some updates on how the .NET 10 release is going. RC2 will come out next week, and then GA follows not too far behind. So things to be aware of and to take advantage of. You know, there's some great work that the team has done in .NET 10. And many of them are here that can come talk to those things. So as you might think of questions, and the same thing for those of you online, as you have questions, put them in the chat, and we will do our best to get to them. And you know, I don't need to talk the whole time.
I have to say, Maddie was the first, of course, to notice that we have the same haircut again. That's the same thing that you mentioned too. But yeah, there we are.
Thanks, Maddie. Thanks for calling that out.
Elvin is here. Great, another colleague. Hola. We have Spanish. We have some Spanish here. Great. Lots of people in the chat.
Well, if you want to ask your questions in Spanish, we have native Spanish speakers in the room, so they can do that and then tell us what they said, because we won't understand.
Just shout.
Cool. So if you wouldn't mind sharing my screen, then we can get started with some of the community updates. It was already up there. All right. So I shared this in the YouTube chat. There's also a banner that you could put up that has the URL list. We curate these over the month, basically the last month of what grabbed our attention and we thought you would be interested in. So .NET 10 RC1 shipped. Woo! Yay! And so yeah, release candidate. If you didn't know, this is a fully supported release. So if something's broken and you took it to prod, we're going to fix it. And we're probably going to fix it in RC2. And if it's not fixed in RC2, it gets fixed right away. So, but you do get the full support on those releases. Some of the stuff that is in here for MAUI developers is we've got new diagnostics work. So we have been kind of instrumenting and adding some metadata and things to the SDK directly so that we can pipe that out using OpenTelemetry to give you an indication of how your app is doing while you're debugging and while you're at runtime, right? So sometimes you're like, why did this page take so long to load? And with this, telemetry, you can get an idea of, it's that control that took a long time to render or to update, right? And provide you with those insights into your application. Sound useful? A little bit? Yeah, nice. We've also added some new work to the hybrid web view. Hybrid web view allows you to use, what are all the JavaScript frameworks? I used the Express joke earlier, so I guess you could do Express.
Vue, React, some other one.
Angular.
Angular, thank you. Yeah,
that was a super popular one. Anybody a JavaScript developer in the room?
Get out.
Not a single
one.
Oh,
that's very brave.
Soul.
Yeah, thank you.
The rest of you were like, no, we're TypeScript developers, man. Yeah, so the hybrid web view allows you to kind of bring those existing apps, or you can write new pieces into your native MAUI application, and it does all the bridging for you with a bunch of hooks for events. And so some of the work that we've done in this release brings you additional events. Some new APIs with the refresh view, and then some deprecations. We're approaching a GA release. It's a major version release. So it's time to clean up the API. And we've really realized there's a really good reason to be a bit more aggressive on cleaning up the API. Because if you're using any AI to do code assistant stuff, it's going to read our API and think it can use stuff. And yeah, we mark things as deprecated. But if, right now the coding assistants are kind of like a very talented 5-year-old. You told it what to do. You might get really, really lucky and it does what you told it to do. But you might also get it using the wrong thing. So by cleaning up the API, it's more direct indication to LLMs which APIs to be using, and it gets rid of the junk it shouldn't be using. I think a perfect example for us is frame and border. Shouldn't be using frame. You should be using border. So let's get rid of frame altogether, which I don't know. Is it already gone? Did you delete it?
Yes. I don't know actually, but that's definitely one that I always see pop up in the models as well. Like, hey, do frame. No, you should. Then you need to be really specific with like, do not use obsoleted APIs, and then it will hopefully listen sometimes.
Yes, exactly. And so if you want to catch up on all the .NET 10 things, these announcement blog posts have been going out, and you can keep track of all the news across all the libraries, the runtime, the SDK, as well as the language releases. What's new in C#? Is there anything new in F#? Visual Basic's still a thing. Any VB developers in the room? Are you the one that keeps filling out the survey and asking for VB support for .NET MAUI? Not you? That's not you? All right.
We'll find him.
We'll figure one day. There is one person that continues to ask, and actually it might be Rolf. You love VB, don't you? You do. I'm just now realizing what's been happening. Okay. Let's see what else has been happening. New release of Visual Studio is coming. You know something about this.
Yeah, Visual Studio 2026. Who's already on it? Cool. I've seen a couple of people not yet, including Ruby. That's weird, but all right. No, that's like very cool new stuff. We've been using it for a little while, at least I have, because internally, of course, we knew it was coming. But it's like, I'm not even lying. It's super crazy fast. Just starting up the program itself, loading a new solution. I think we have some side-by-side comparisons, or I don't know what this is. Of course, there's some AI demo in here. AI is now more integrated into Visual Studio than ever. But what really stood out to me when I started it the first time was how fast it was. And also, like, the .NET MAUI code base is a large one, and even with that, you just notice how snappy it is. And that's what really stands out to me, including like a new, fresh view with new themes.
I know, for some, maybe it's because Rachel liked pink. She still likes pink as her IDE theme color. And so when I see this, I'm just like, oh, this is all Rachel. She loves the colors, themes. If you want to learn more about this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, maybe watch this stream. Although I don't know if you've watched it, there was some technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's why I skipped ahead.
But no, it's been fun. So this is Pedro, who's very involved in the .NET MAUI community as well. And there was like a bunch of streamers, bloggers, whatever, MVPs mostly, who got an early look at Visual Studio 2026. So there's a lot of content out there, including a live stream with me and Pedro, kind of like discovering what all's new in Visual Studio 2026. He actually taught me something new with Copilot 2 that you can ask it like, hey, profile my app. There's a tool built in for that now, and it just starts profiling.
Yeah,
really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff. We explore that a little bit.
All right. Azure Dev Summit. So there's a couple of cool events coming up. The Azure Dev Summit is in Portugal. Rui, Portugal. Is it a good place to go?
Do you say like?
Yeah. It's amazing. Most times we see Rui, he's either lounging in a beanbag chair or at the beach with his shirt off. So.
Yes. And we wanted some of that action.
And we do. So the lineup of speakers for this is crazy. Like anybody who is anybody is going to be there. Let's see, agenda speakers. So I don't know any of those people. I know Amanda Silver. We work with her. I know Brady. Work with him. Chris Klug. I know Chris Ayers.
No, so, I know that one.
Dan Roth. He's super popular. Dan Roth. But yeah. So I didn't know Dan left Seattle. I didn't know that he traveled.
I didn't know.
So, right. Because I never see him anywhere but Seattle. I've never seen Dan anywhere but at the office.
Well, we got him. We got him to go here.
Yeah, but list goes on and on, literally. And it's going to be fantastic. Mads is always a great one. Tell you all the new things in C#. So this is coming up in just a few weeks. If the company still has some budget for you to come attend a conference, please come check that out. And it'll be a banger.
There's still tickets. I think we can hook you up with some discount if you want. So
oh yeah, we can
see us after the show.
Yeah, the discount code is speaker.
The part is important.
It was like $500 off.
200, 500.
200. Okay. But there's money up. If you are interested, definitely reach out. We'll save you a few bucks. Update Conf is coming up. You guys know something about this, right? But you keep scheduling it very close to the .NET Conf, and so that makes it very hard for me to come. But Gerald is coming. You're going to be there.
I'm going to be here.
Anybody else planning to go? Yeah, quite a few. So we just need to sell the rest of you.
Are you the one Peppers is going to be at?
Are you going to be
coming too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Awesome.
What are you talking about?
Native AOT and mobile, I think.
Native AOT and mobile. The Jonathan Peppers is going to be there. It's going to be a hot talk. Very good.
I get it.
You got that?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm full of it. So definitely check this out. I'm sure it's going to be great. I keep wanting to go, but like I said, it's always like right up against .NET Conf. And I keep going to .NET Conf, which is coming up. Of course, .NET Conf is where we launch the next version of .NET. And you get to hear sessions from all the product team about what's new in the release. And then I believe we even still have some community sessions. The format will be a little different this year. So keep an eye on that, but super excited. Beth Massey from our team put together this cool video.
Did you see me?
I didn't. Do you need to back it up?
No, it's coming.
It's coming.
Da-da-da, drum roll. It's really quick, probably because they didn't want to include too much of the audience there.
That was me.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that was you. You're crossing a finish line.
Yeah, half a marathon, baby.
Nice. And that was David Fowler doing a box jump there. So these are all people from the team doing some extreme thing. I didn't share anything because the most extreme thing I did was so slow that I didn't know how to condense 11 and a half hours into a 2-second clip.
Okay.
It wouldn't have worked. So anyway, there you go. Cool little teaser video. If nothing else, the .NET team loves to have fun. So, all right. What else? Ooh, this is a great one. So Rachel and team, and I don't know if anybody else in the room worked on this, but the XAML Live preview. Does anybody like to use this in Visual Studio? Gives you the nice preview in Visual Studio. You can click on the UI elements that take you directly to the code, take you to the live visual tree. It's gotten some love. It's gotten some enhancements. The quality has been improved, but you can also now use it at design time. So you can go debug Windows XAML Live preview. It'll boot it up, and you can start using it without ever doing a debug session. So there's a cool video in here that Rachel put together.
Well, there's some other thing. This is cool too, because not only that, but you can also kind of like go into the design and take a screenshot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or it can actually.
Yeah, it's going to do this.
Yeah, so you have like Copilot Vision in here, so you feed it with an image, it looks at that, and it's like, hey, I can implement this design for you. So then it goes off, provides you with XAML to implement that exact design. So
Yeah.
no need for a designer anymore.
Well, yeah, if your prompting skills are on point.
Oh, there we go.
I think having a designer is still very, very good. But, so I think the cool thing, has anybody been using this where you supply screenshots or images as context? One person? Does it work well for you? Yeah, cool. So that's a prompt for everybody else. You can totally do that, whether it's from a Figma or just from, like, so what I did on a recent app.
Yeah, no, Figma is even better because that's kind of like structured data, right?
Yeah,
so you can just feed that, and then the output will even be better. From an image, it tries to kind of like parse and see what it does, but from Figma, like that's already structured data, so that even.
Yeah, so what I did, I was validating some of the SafeArea work that Shane and team has been working on. And I was like, okay, what are some apps that need to kind of go above the notch or behind the home button and things like that? And so I looked on my phone, I'm scrolling through my phone, I'm like, oh, Airbnb does this. Oh, okay, Spotify does this. And so I just took a couple of screenshots of the kind of interaction as you scroll, et cetera. And I supplied that series of screenshots to Copilot just like this and said, build this for me with these interactions. And I gave it minimal description. It totally rocked it.
Cool.
I mean, it didn't choose great icons. I had to supply the actual imagery for, like, if it was a photo or something like that, just to kind of make it look better. But as far as like the actual layout, the elements, the interactions, it nailed it. So highly recommend taking advantage of that with Copilot Chat. Of course, you're sending images, so it can slow it down slightly. But this video was not sped up significantly, if at all. So check that out. Very cool, right? Yeah, I feel like prompting another applause right now. So Rachel and the Visual Studio Live preview team, V-team. All right, cool. A couple more. We're doing great on time, 5:20.
Oh, what's this?
I don't know, Gerald. Tell me, what is this?
There's some new requirements by the Google Play Store, by Google effectively, where they're going to, well, this is the devices. I think on some devices it's a setting, and there's going to be new devices and Android versions where 16 kilobyte page sizes is a thing, which all has to do with the performance of apps and operating systems or whatever. But that also means that your apps, if they do not have this enabled, are going to not be compatible, right? So they're kind of vague. At least I haven't really been able to find it. Maybe you know, but what the implications are. But I assume it's kind of like, I don't think they're going to remove your app from the store, but I think what will happen is if your app is not compatible and someone downloads it while the 16 kilobyte page size stuff is enabled, your app might crash. And that's not something that you want to have, right? That will be like 1-star reviews and your app's gonna be not great. So .NET MAUI is ready. If you're using .NET MAUI 9, so .NET 9, all the work has been done. If you're going to build your app, you might see, and that's what you might want to inspect, because this is coming up on November 1st, so that's less than a month by now. You can get some extension, I think, but just don't delay, just update. And you will get a build warning with like, hey, this file doesn't seem to be compatible, which is linked to this NuGet package. Go stalk the author of that thing. Or, you know, be a good open source citizen, update it yourself, do a pull request to do that requirement, because you want your app to be compatible with this and do not run into any trouble.
I'm just now seeing the faster startup times, improved system performance. What's not to like? All I gotta do is recompile.
Just recompile,
Okay.
do an update.
See, I spend most of my time doing iOS and macOS, so
I will say,
I hear people use Android.
I released an app recently,
Okay.
and I was always under the impression that iOS is strict. But
Your
now,
Halloween app?
Yeah. Boy, I tried to use the background location on Android. They wanted a video of me explaining why I wanted that. Yeah.
Interesting. Which I guess like, I have a video setup. I can.
I recorded it in the most crappy way, and they were like, "This is not essential to your app. You have to take it out." So we took it out.
I was going to go to Instagram and see if I could find your was that? I'll save it.
We'll save that for later.
All right. Well, tell me about this.
Oh wow. Why is this on here?
You added it to the thing.
I did not. You did. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I have been for a while. This is a couple of years old when MAUI started to become a thing. Trying to kind of like gather all the resources out there. So this is like books, blog posts, social media accounts from notable community members. Official sources are on there. A bunch of like libraries too, like open source libraries, samples, whatever. Trying to gather basically every resource out there that is available for .NET MAUI. So if you're working on something, make sure to add it. Or if you want to learn more about a specific thing, if you want to learn more about .NET MAUI itself or a specific angle or whatever, hopefully you'll find a link here. Are you not on there? I'm sorry.
I am in there.
But apparently I need to work on the structure of things if you can't find yourself.
Well, yeah. Sure.
So yeah,
My Twitter, yeah, because I spend so much time on X.
it's a little bit outdated here and there. Maybe.
This is the important part. You got to search yourself first, right?
But you did the
I want
key
to see if I
listener.
was really your friend or not.
Library, you are. You know that.
Oh, the key listener. Yeah. You got to get the debug overlay.
See, there you go. Add it.
All right. Plugin.Maui.ShellTabBarBadge. And if you ever see Plugin.Maui, there is only one person to blame, Gerald, because you created that cool repo template thing. I don't even know what it's called. I've never seen it anywhere else.
They didn't use it, but anyway. No, so what you can do on GitHub is create a repository that is a template, and you can say, hey, create a new project from this. And a lot of people were asking me like, hey, how do you create plugins for .NET MAUI? So created a video, obviously, maybe a blog post, not sure. And created a repository to make it easier, because the structure for these plugins, I mean, if that's something that we can make easier for you, then you're going to build more plugins, and then the whole ecosystem benefits, right? So record a video on how to do that, created the template repository, and then lots of people at least ran with the name with Plugin.Maui, which
I think it's nice, actually. I tease, but I thought it's nice.
So, you know, there's now lots of Plugin.Maui. Whatever. And this is one of the latest of them, which was shared on the Mauiverse Discord. I don't think that's on the Learn.NET Maui. Discord server, we beat the Aspire Discord, Maddie in the chat, to 1,000 users quicker than them. So, you know, there you go. So this is like we discussed that with the rest of the team, like also give an update on what we're doing in the community. And this is a community thing, right? The Discord server, not an official support channel or anything. But we would go out to conferences that people would ask us like, hey, where is a place that we can ask questions? And we love everyone, we love your questions, but not necessarily in our GitHub issues. Because that distracts us kind of like from our to-do list, that is the issues. So GitHub discussions is a good place for that. But then again, like, it might sit there, there might be a response, yes or no. And maybe you just want to chat a little bit back and forth directly. So we came up, there was one channel on kind of like the bigger .NET Discord server that's out there. That's also not really enough. So we were like, hey, I think we have enough data to kind of like warrant a dedicated Discord server to .NET MAUI, and 1,000 users in less than 2 months. So
Yeah.
I think we're doing great. And this was one of the things that is happening there is that people are sharing their work. And I think this is something that has been requested for a long time as well, that you can have badges on kind of like the tab bar. And I think they also have features for doing it in kind of like your toolbar icons and whatever, that you can have badges and a counter there.
Yeah, I just realized we have. Does that zoom? It does zoom. They're changing the icons here. Oh, look at that. And
You can have a badge emoji in there.
Yeah, look at that. Because it was pizza there for a hot second. And I was like, why is there pizza on the badge? That's cool.
So, new plugin.
Anybody here in the Mauiverse Discord? All right, a few people up front. Once again, the back half of the room is not.
Including Rui. Is he involved at all? Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
you are. You are, okay. Timon, you should be in there.
No, we didn't. We banned him. He was behaving. Yeah. No, that's not how it works. Otherwise,
Privacy glass. I thought this was pretty cool. Oh, what does that say? Preview took too long to generate. No, preview. There it goes.
that's because so awesome. It took too long to generate.
So yeah, it's basically if you need to put your app into a privacy mode, like maybe you put it to the background because you're switching apps. If you do a banking app or something like that, usually you would just black it out, but this gives you, I guess, the ability to kind of a privacy glass.
Yeah, that's like for your whole multitasking thing, but I think this can do it like around any element. So I don't know how banking apps
Pay
are
me
there.
money, otherwise this is all you get.
Maybe it's something, if you're working freelance, you can implement this, sneak that into your kind of like client app. And then if they don't pay the bills, it gradually kind of like fades away.
Yeah. I love it. Sounds like a dark pattern. All right, one more. I had no idea about this. We have talked about this for a very long time, but I didn't know this actually happened.
It's, I'm not sure, they asked me to not give it too much attention, which we're failing at now.
Well,
there's no people watching.
It's on
That's
GitHub.
fine. It's on GitHub, that's true. This is something that has been used for a long time. A lot of people have been asking, like, hey, Xamarin.UITest support for MAUI, and then App Center went away, and I see people getting sad, so let's not talk about that too much. But at least, like, there's still people who are interested, A, in maybe just the technique behind it. So you can go look at that now, and B, maybe you still have a product to support, and we are not officially supporting this anymore. Right? So they made it available open source, but also directly archived it. So it's only here for reference, so you can look at it. You can still fork it if you want. You can take it. You can make your own version if you still need to run this on whatever. But it's not supported by us. But at least you have something to work with.
Yeah, very cool. We were asked to do that by many customers, so
Glad
glad to see that they were able to do that. Nice. All right. I'll give a QR code for this, but just a heads up, we're kicking off our next quarterly survey. So please fill out these surveys. We read all of them, and then we put them into AI and make sense of them, and then we catalog them so we can see trends over time and all the things, right? I've actually got close to 10 years, like 9 years of survey history to look back on, which is pretty unique among all the products that we have. I have asked other areas, I'm like, hey, do you happen to know what your customer was saying back in blah, 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 10 years ago? And they're like, absolutely not. Don't even remember that. But we can actually look back with Xamarin and MAUI and see all of that because we keep track of it in an anonymized, very secure, private, no PII, all that sort of thing way.
But stop talking about Visual Basic.
Now I can go back and see the trend. I will know when Rolf started with the VB thing. He once upon a time shipped some VB thing, and I was like, what is this? Like, well, I just thought it was cool. I thought people would use it. Yeah. And then I had to crash his dreams and hopes. Yeah, so very short survey. I would fill it out for you right now in front of you, but I will let you do that yourself. So I've got a couple of slides. The first one right here is a QR code for everybody online and in the room. Hit that with your phone, I'll wait until I see every phone
I was gonna
click.
say, they're all pretending.
Every
right now. They're like,
single
yeah,
phone.
Sure, Dave.
I don't want to know what Stephane has to say. Share it with your friends, your colleagues, your moms, your dads.
Talk about the birthday party.
Yeah.
How do you think dotnet is going?
We got a ton of responses last time. Very interested to see how things are progressing and improving for you. Because really, we do the work for you and to make money, but we do it mostly for you to help you be successful. You know, we're software developers also. I spent 20 plus years outside of Microsoft working in the enterprise, working with startups and things like that. So I feel like I still really understand what it's like to be many of you in the jobs that you have, the careers, and you know, working for the bosses that you have. I had lots of bosses. You know, help us help you. That'd be great. Cool. All right. Next up, can you grab a microphone?
Yes.
Stephane, get up here. Come on, get up. This is Stephane de Croix.
Yeah, whatever.
From Belgium. Stephane has been working on Xamarin since he was a toddler.
Yep.
And since, were you at Novell?
Yeah.
He was all the way back from Novell, if you know the history of Xamarin. Have the microphone. Tell us all about the work you've been doing with XAML Sourcegen. What is it? Why should I care about it? So come a little bit this way because the camera's over
The
there.
camera's over there. So who's using XAML for the application?
XAML for your apps? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So XAML is not known by the runtime, so we have to convert it. So what's happening what was happening at the very beginning? We were passing the XAML at runtime on the device, inflating it via reflection on the device, and that was working nice, but a bit slow. That's still what you're using right now when you are debugging, because we need all the instrumentation, and this is quite slow. We'll show the number in a minute. Something like 10 years ago, or even more than that, it was still Xamarin. We moved from runtime inflation to XAML compilation. So XAML compilation was just taking the XAML and generating IL directly at compile time. We did that way because Roslyn wasn't a thing yet. So there was no way to generate source code. What we are doing right now, since this year, that will be that you can start using in RC2 in a few weeks, is inflation of XAML using source generator. Inflation of XAML using source generator will give you the benefits of the runtime performance at debug time, shorter dev loop, so it will take less time to build. It will give you better reliability because you will get exactly the same code running in debug and in release. So, and if you look at the numbers, we just made those up this afternoon with Shimon. Shimon is over there.
Didn't make them up. We did some benchmark tests.
We just measured them this afternoon. So as a benchmark, you get XAML seed. The XAML seed ratio is 1. So that's what you get right now in release. If you see the time it takes in runtime, depending on those are two different examples, two different pages, but it takes from 30 times up to 65 times longer to inflate a page at runtime. So if you can avoid in your released app to inflate XAML using reflection, do it, because that's really slow. That's barely usable. If you debug an application, a medium-sized application with complex page on debug, you see that it can take 2-3 seconds to load the page, and those are those times. So we are doing so. The XAML C is the baseline. It's 1. And what we are doing right now by doing source generation, we are already under that. So we are with the new XAML inflation, we are not on par. We are better than that. So starting with RC2, and when we release, you will explain how to do it. you should try it. And if it doesn't work, report a bug and we'll fix it.
Yes, very good. Thank you very much, Stephane. Yeah, RC2 is in about a week and a half. So my dumbed down version of everything he just explained is, you know how when you're debugging an app, it's slow as dirt? This makes it fast. Yeah, so you'll notice that in going from page to page. You'll notice that a bit of startup, I think you may have mentioned, but if not, I'll reiterate, faster build times as well during debug. And then, because you're also generating C#, you can actually see what's happening in C#, set your breakpoints there. You get a much richer debugging experience, much richer, like watches and all those sorts of things. So if you want to check this out, and you absolutely should, it's like a simple line in your CS proj. And do you remember what it's called?
MAUI inflator?
Yeah, something like that. It's in the docs. It's in the what's new with .NET MAUI 10. It's in our release notes. It's a one-liner, and it works for your whole app. So it's really good.
It will work with RC2. It works somehow with RC1.
Cool. Shane Newell, Mr. Pureween, would you please come to the front?
I should have worn my shirt yet today.
I know. Would you please talk about this wonderful work that you and others have been doing for safe areas and edge to edge?
Yeah.
Why should we care about this?
Did you get the iOS one too, or is this the?
No, I just grabbed the one from the
Just
sprint
grabbed
wins.
one
So
from
just
Sprint
speak
Wins.
generally about it.
Generally about it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Safe areas. So
How long have you been on the team, by the way?
I don't remember. 2018 or 2019. What year did you join?
I was 2019, and you were there before me, so it must be
2018
Yeah.
to 2017.
So I went in 2018 because I was a few months after you. Okay. Cool. My fixed point. I'll just stand here. I'll
Yeah,
just
please.
up there.
You can even use the laser pointer,
Yeah.
which may not work out because it's red.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
By the way, this is not a color pattern palette that you should use in your app.
Oh yeah, this is actually what AI decided to create for the color palette. And I was like, that's fine. Yeah, to make some UI tests for me to test SafeArea. And that's what it came up with. And I was like, that's cool, we'll run with it. Yeah, so SafeArea has always sort of long been an ignored feature. Like it was kind of a thrown together thing when iOS brought it about with like the notch and whatnot, but it was always just specified through like a platform specific. Oh, hey, side question. Who here does not know what a platform specific is? Do you know what those are? Yeah, Stephane. Yeah, you don't know? Anybody else? When I say platform specific, you all know what platform specific
No,
is?
I see a lack of recognition in
Yeah?
the faces.
I'm not really sure. Okay.
So I reverse it. Who knows what a platform specific is?
Yeah, I can XAML.
Okay, they do
Yeah,
know.
they
They do
do.
know.
Okay.
They just don't like me.
I was always curious because like I was doing Xamarin Forms for like 4 years, and then I came to work here, and they're like platform specifics. I'm like, what is that? I've never seen that in my entire life.
So what do I say about platform specifics?
What do you say?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't ever do them.
don't ever do them. Yeah. So the big thing here too is just trying to move safe areas to a more discoverable and kind of cross-platform API. So this sort of takes the safe area and makes it controllable on every corner, on every side. So it's basically a left, top, right, bottom like specification that you can use to indicate how you want that to operate within the safe area boundaries. So as you'll see on this one here, the first image is specifying I want like the top part to go into the unsafe area and then the bottom part not to. And then that's how it'll sort of auto pad your spaces. So you can sort of control it by any of the sides more individually, which is really cool. So, and then the one that I'm really excited about is that you can specify that you want the INE view or the soft input view to obey the safe area. So like in this example here, I didn't get a picture of it, but if you set the bottom edge to obey safe areas with soft input, you would click it and you would see like this yellow thing pop up above the keyboard. So now it'll sort of auto pad the view to stay in and not kind of go behind the keyboard. So this became a super necessary thing with Android because in Android 36, they started making edge-to-edge a requirement. So I don't know if any of you folks had sort of tried to build against an API 36. You're like, oh my gosh, why is everything going into the status bar now? So this fixes that issue. So the first build of this is in RC2. iOS has been out since preview 6. So let us know any issues so we can fix them for GA.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shane.
SafeArea.
Also on the iOS note, Xcode 26 support is in RC2 for .NET 10 and 9, right? Yeah, because we've been shipping it for .NET 9, but in .NET 10. You're gonna say something more?
Yeah.
You might need that. Don't take it away. So let's see. I think we have time for Aspire. Are you ready for this?
I am ready for
All right,
this.
we're gonna pull the HDMI,
Quick, put something fun on there.
and then we're gonna give it to Gerald Versluis,
Versluis.
who's using .NET Aspire or Aspire. Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Everyone, Maddie, everyone put their hand up. It was like they were going crazy all of a sudden. Aspire. Whoa.
She is spamming the chat. Somebody needs to
she
shut
is,
that down.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've also been doing is seeking the integration with Aspire. I think I made, I'm just plugging my YouTube channel basically the whole time. I made a video on that. And we kind of explored a couple of different ways to do that. One of which was, you can use it right now with a little bit of fiddling. But, you know, so that's included in the Visual Studio tooling in Visual Studio 2022 and 26. But that only works on Visual Studio and only for Windows, right? So because we did a little thing in the tooling right there. That's not great because it's great that we have it, but it's also great to have it on other platforms, right? Because I'm on a Mac a lot, or you're using the CLI to build stuff and not necessarily Visual Studio. So it would be great if we could just have that support everywhere, right? So that's what I started to kind of like discover, like, hey, talking to the Aspire team as well, I was like, hey, how can we make this more of a native Aspire integration, right? So what you're seeing here is actually the Aspire repository. This is like ongoing work. I'm not done yet, but getting really close to what I think is a V1 for all of this. I saw in the chat from here, from the corner of my eye, happy to see dev tunnels in Aspire. Yes, because unique to kind of like MAUI projects where Aspire can be super helpful, to be really clear, this is going to be a development tool for MAUI apps, right? I don't see any story with deploying your app to whatever, right? Maybe somewhere down the road, we do with Fastlane and we push it to the store for you and you don't have to deal with videos on Google Play Store and whatever. But I don't see that happening. I think this will be a tool that will help you with mobile development. And you're all mobile developers, right? So you know that for Windows, it's easy. If you have this backend running on your system, this weather API that we keep adding to everything, with weather forecast, and you do localhost, then on Windows, it's going to find localhost because it's running on the same machine. On Mac, same story, right? It's going to just find it. But if you're going to go to Android and iOS, then suddenly you're running on an emulator or a simulator or an actual device, and localhost is that actual device, right? So it's not going to find your thing. And even, and then if you do connect it to you know, your machine right here, then it might be like, hey, dev certificates, right? That's another thing. Like, oh, it's not an official thing, so I need to add, but only for my development version, the little exclusion of like enable clear text, whatever it's called on Android, and HTTPS exemption, blah, blah, blah. And then if you forget that, you suddenly have a security thing in your production version of your app in the App Store, right? So all stuff that you don't want to deal with, and you don't have to deal with anymore. So that's why part of why we started building this, and then of course you get like all the tracing of like the HTTP requests and the diagnostic stuff that you talked about earlier that we've been adding to the .NET MAUI SDK as well. So dev tunnels is going to help us with that. I've been stalking the Aspire team of like, hey, we need to have that dev tunnel support if we want to make this a thing for MAUI, because what I had kind of like in my first proof of concept was like you had to spin up a dev tunnel yourself, get the little right ID and then put that in a JSON file. Not great, not what something we want to bother you with, because that's something that we can automate. DevTunnel is if you don't know what that is, it's been around for a couple of years already. And that kind of like creates a public endpoint for your local machine. So what this does, it gives you a remote, you can configure that, right? You can say, hey, with anonymous access right here, but you can also have some security in there. But that will create a remote accessible endpoint that points to your local machine. So you will have like, I don't know, some cryptic URL, but that will end up to talking to your weather API right here, and other people could talk to that. But also your MAUI apps in development can talk to that. So spinning up this weather API, this is like, this is our Aspire app host right here. Again, this is the Aspire code base, and in that we have a playground with like, you can see all kinds of different projects right here. And now also on my branch for the time being, Aspire with MAUI, right? And inside of that, we have our app host. So that's kind of like starting your Aspire orchestration. We have the MAUI client. So that's your MAUI app with the service defaults that come together with that. The service defaults for our web API, and then the actual weather API, right? So I'm not going to go over them in all the details. But then you can say like, hey, weather API, this exists today in Aspire. DevTunnels also exists today in Aspire. But this is the new part, right? So we have our builder.add.maui project. This is your identifier, so this is how you're going to identify it in the Aspire landscape, if you will. And then we do a reference to the CS-proj. So I think I was actually happy to see this whenever I started working on this, because what you would typically do is add a reference from your MAUI project to your Aspire app host project. And because MAUI is like a multi-targeted project, because we have targets for Android, iOS, et cetera, it would mess it up, right? It would be like, oh, I don't have any indication of how to build for iOS or for whatever. And it doesn't have to do that, but there's, I think, a bug, or at least it wasn't playing nice. And we kind of like go around that by just referencing the CS-proj. That's all we want to know about this thing. You can not only do this for MAUI projects, you can also do it for other projects. And then you can say, hey, I want to, maybe you only want to test your Windows project, or maybe you only want to do your Android project, right? And maybe another, I didn't really look into this yet, but another thing that I'm just thinking of here on the spot, like if you're running on macOS, then you can only enable this thing with kind of like the compiler flags, right? So you can kind of like play with that as well to only enable the certain things. So that's cool too. And then whenever you do this with Windows, with Android, with iOS, with Mac Catalyst, that's kind of like all the targets. I think if you leave them out, I built a semi-smart thing that will pick up automatically the targets that are in your MAUI project. It will give you a little warning like, hey, you probably want to specify this explicitly, but I tried to kind of like detect them automatically as well. And whenever you do that, you can now do .NET Run on your app host project. That will bring up the Aspire dashboard. It will spin up the whole orchestration. And you will see all these MAUI targets as separate resources. So a MAUI app can then take a little bit longer to deploy, right? To build, deploy, et cetera, et cetera. And typically what would happen if you start orchestration, it will build the whole thing, it will do the whole thing. Time. So this is like with explicit start, I think they call it. So this delays until you actually say like, hey, I want to run this thing, right? Because maybe you're looking into something very specific to Android. You do not want to build all the other projects, and you just want to do the Android one. So let's go to the dashboard right here. You can see all the things are spinning up. The dev tunnels are coming up. I added a separate one for the open telemetry stuff. If you're interested in why that is, talk to me afterwards. But you will see like all the different targets here, right? Showing up in the Aspire dashboard. You can see Windows, I'm running on macOS, so we didn't magically fix that so that it will run on macOS. So there's a warning in the output somewhere like, hey, this is not supported, right? If you do that, you can do that. And if you run on Windows, it will be the opposite. You cannot run macOS and iOS. It will notify you with that. But now what you can say is like, hey, iOS, okay, my web API is running. It's configured here to automatically pick that up with the service discovery. So it knows how to talk to it through the dev tunnel. And I can just start my iOS target here. You can see in the output, you can see here it's starting. You can inspect in the output how far it is, and it's actually built. Works with environment variables, and refer that to as well. can take a little while. Oh, there we go. It's launching the application, right? And you get the output here as well. So all in one place in the Aspire dashboard right here. I didn't specify which simulator to use, so it just takes, that's how iOS simulators work. It just takes the first one.
Which is always an iPad.
Which is always an iPad for some reason. But that's why I had the little comment in here. It's a little bit cryptic. That's probably what you can expect for a V1. This is how you identify a certain iOS simulator. If you remove the prefix and figure out the GUID for your device, that should work too. Untested, preview, beta, whatever. But that's going to be a little bit like, we first want to kind of like test, is this something that's useful to you? Are you using this? And then kind of like figure out how we can make this story better. But you should be able to do this today by providing the string right here with this identifier. See, Copilot is already helping me. It's amazing. And then it will start up whatever device you want to have, right? And then here, this is like a little playground of things with loads, a couple of weather forecasts here. I added a little tab for the environment variables just to self-check so I can see what's coming up here. And then when we go back to the dashboard, we can see like, hey, the traces is going to be a lot probably. Let's filter on HTTP requests. You can see the HTTP requests going back and forth, and you can inspect like, hey, MAUI client iOS, web API, okay, drill into the details, how long did it take, et cetera, et cetera. Now you can see that I did the filter, right? So if I do back to all, because that's what you said earlier, we have those diagnostics in there for OpenTelemetry. So you don't need to service it through the Aspire dashboard stuff or the Aspire orchestration stuff. You can do that with any OpenTelemetry sync, however what the terms are in that part of the world. You can service that in other stuff if you want, because OpenTelemetry, is open source, open protocol, open whatever, you can hook that up to other things. But of course, Aspire is a great integration of that. And what you then want to do in your kind of like service default, and I opened an issue earlier today to figure out if you want to make this part of our default templates, is add a meter and add a source for the tracing for Microsoft.Maui. And then will that show up as kind of like, hey, we're going to service that here in the telemetry as well. Let me zoom out a little bit. And one of the first things we did is like, hey, for the arrange and measure, so you can see, hey, we got this like 3 times, I don't know, vertical stack layout with 2 labels. How long did that take to reach a layout and whatever? So you can spot here like, hey, this is taking a long time. Why is that? Is there something here I need to look into to make my app more performant, do layout better, show up earlier, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, we have the Copilot integration right here, so you don't even need to look at it. You can just go Copilot, what's wrong with this thing? And it will tell you a little bit something about here as well. So, yeah, this is kind of like where we are with integrating MAUI with Aspire as well, and hopefully bring some more joy to...
Yeah. You're bringing joy to me because you're showing all this on the Mac right now.
Yes.
And I used to always be trying this out for like months and months. And I'm like, Gerald, like this doesn't work, man. He goes, are you on the Mac? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, it works on Windows.
Yep.
And I'm like, ah. And then I got a Windows machine and it was an ARM machine. And I'm like, but I can't do anything. I do love my ARM service.
Yeah, that's cool because it's now, right, it's part of Aspire whenever we merge this and get this out. So you can do it through the CLI, you can start it through VS Code, on Mac, on Windows, works everywhere.
So I was so enamored watching what you were doing. I did miss. I was watching what you were doing, not you.
Guys.
So you said this is in Aspire, so I just need to install the version of Aspire that this will be in, a future release.
Hopefully, if they're willing, I don't know what I don't know what their cadence is. They're out of band for like,
Maddie,
blah, blah, blah.
if you're still listening, when can we ship this? Come on, make a commitment right
They just
now.
released 9.5, and I don't know if it's like monthly or bi-monthly or whatever, but hopefully 9.6, 9.7. I don't know if they're gonna bump to 10 together with .NET 10. I don't know how they all work. But I'm close to what I think is a V1, putting up the PR. Then it's for them to kind of like review, and then, we should be able to do this.
Cool. Well, we have a few minutes left for some questions. I see a question here from Sergey asking about a developer community XAML designer for .NET MAUI. There was a feedback issue, a request for us to build one. And we recently closed it. So, it had been open for quite a long time, and we certainly have recognized that there is an audience for whom a drag and drop designer is would be amazing, right? Like, it's something we've used with other platforms, had good success with it. Would love to see it in .NET MAUI. The reality is that for the kind of multiple native platforms for us, we've had designers in the past. We had an Android designer, we had an iOS designer, we had a live player, we had a previewer, we now have a XAML Live previewer. All of these share a lot of similarities, if not are identical to what people have used in the past. So it's not that we don't know designers and don't understand them well and don't get the value of it. We do. But we have to also be, very thoughtful about where we invest and what are the things that only really we can do and must do to continue to make the product successful for our customers. And so we made the decision that a XAML designer is not that thing. The areas in which we can help are in the areas of the live family of tools. So the live previewer, live visual tree, live property editor, making that available as we showed earlier with the detached from the debugger scenario for design time. Totally recognize it's not the same feature parity, et cetera. But those are the areas that we're investing in addition to hot reload, to try to make hot reload better and better and better. And Sergey points out hot reload is not a replacement. No, it's not. But it can meet a lot of similar needs. It's a different workflow, but it is also something that from an investment standpoint, lower cost, higher value. I mean, I think that we all get that, right? You make similar decisions about the products that you're working on, where you're going to invest your time in your products for your customers, right? So we understand this. And some of these decisions are not, we would love to be able to do everything, but that's not the case. I think what you will see from us in the future is you'll certainly see us leading into how AI can help in these scenarios. And it's not just we have some kind of mandate to push AI down everybody's throats. We are trying to find ways in which it really is a multiplier and can help make us all super, super successful doing what we're doing. And we've seen enough promise from it that we are strong believers that it can do that. So does that make sense? I know that nobody in the room actually asked that question. Well, maybe not. Sergey, are you in the room? Just checking. But Sergey, thank you for the question. I do completely sympathize that it's not what a lot of people, especially on that feedback ticket, wanted to hear. But we need to tell you what we're doing, and we don't want to string anybody along either. So do we have other questions? Anybody in the room have a question you want to ask? And I know that we will stick around after the live stream too if you want to wait for after the live stream. But if you have a question you want on record, you're welcome to do that. Even from the team. They're like, I don't want to answer any questions. Were there any other questions you saw in the chat, Gerald?
No, not really.
Is Avalonia the only solution or Uno? If a designer surface is super important to your workflow, I highly recommend giving Avalonia and Uno a look. Absolutely. They run on top of pieces that we maintain, and we are collaborators with them across a lot of spaces. So I have no qualms whatsoever about recommending Avalonia and Uno.
Still .NET? We're all friends?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's another thing, there are options out there. We don't have to go do this to, take work away from Avalonia and Uno. They've got people working in that space. That's where they've chosen to invest. So follow that. I feel like the more clear we are on where we are investing and what our roadmap is, then you'll know, is your need aligned to our roadmap? And is this the road you want to travel, right? We're traveling it together. If I'm going to take the road somewhere else for the product, but you need to go this direction, that's fine. We don't have to dislike each other, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Parting thoughts of wisdom. It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe one. Did you remember one of your jokes too?
Ooh, a parting joke? Was everybody waiting for a parting joke?
Yeah.
The team wasn't here for this.
That's right.
All right, give me a really good closing joke.
This is peak AI. This is.
Okay, a QA engineer walks into a bar and orders a beer. Orders 0 beers. Orders 9,999,999 beers. Orders -1 beer. Orders a lizard. Orders a random string of characters, and the bar collapses.
We get pity laughs.
They are snickering in the room. They're snickering in the room. Well, thank you, everybody. I think that's our time for today. So for those of you who hung out online and watched, thank you very much.
See you next month.
I know, and thank you for coming in the live audience. Awesome. All right, so Václav has permission to hit the end show button. Outro music is playing.